Hi, welcome back to Elfcraft Vinyl. I'm Sharon, and this week's tutorial is how to etch with adhesive vinyl onto slate. The slate I'm using is reclaimed industrial slate, so it wouldn't be suitable for things like cheese boards, etc. I have been renovating our garden for about a year now, and I'll put some photos on the end of what it looked like and what it looks like now. It's still not finished, but I needed a couple of pieces to put in the garden, and this is what I came up with. So let me show you. So this first one is a spot at the end of the garden where we had put a plant in but it didn't survive, and this is what I made. The slate says, "Just when I thought I was too old to fall in love again, I became a grandparent." I mean, the grandchildren have had lots of fun in the garden this year, and I thought that was an apt sentiment. So if I move back a little bit, you'll be able to see it. Second one, it's covering a spot where we had to close up a very small window in our kitchen, and on the outside it left quite an ugly scar. So this is a quote from the Secret Garden, and now we'll get on to making it. So I'll pop the measurements for this on the screen, but I've cleaned it already. You'll need your pick, your tweezers, scissors, scraper, vinyl. This is permanent vinyl, a cloth, white spirit, or some sort of alcohol wash to get all the grease and everything off. As I say, I have washed this with washing up liquid. You need transfer tape as well, and obviously your etching fluid. I'm using Etching for this. You can buy that on Amazon. So just clean it all off. And there we are with the Etching. I've got a big container of it now. It does last a long time. I've already cut this on my Cricut Explorer Air 2. And now we'll just get on with the weeding. When I weed, I like to just tape it down with a bit of painter's tape to stop it rolling up. Gives me a nice flat area to work with. And the t-shirt I'm wearing in this video, ballet grandma with some ballet shoes. I will do a tutorial on how I did this because I've had quite a few comments. I take my granddaughters to ballet class, and I go to their rehearsals and their shows. And so I wanted to turn up at their last show with something that was special. So that's what I made it for. And I had a few interested people, commenting on it. So it's multi-layer and multi-HTV, so we've got glitter in there as well as premium vinyl. So as you can see, I've almost weeded it out. We're weeding it as a stencil, so I'm taking the insides out. And for those that don't know, weeding is just taking out the things that you don't want. Just like when you're weeding the garden, you're taking out things that you don't want. And I'm nearly at the end. This is quite an easy one to weed out. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and share and hit that bell. If you want to be included in the prize draws that are happening weekly in December, you will have to put a flower in the description box, so I know in the comment box rather, so I know who's interested. So here I'm using paper transfer paper, and I've used this is an old piece that I've used several times, and I'm just popping it on and rubbing it down with my scraper. And I do use my carrier sheets over and over again. And then the paper from the back of adhesive vinyl, whenever I cut out a heat transfer vinyl and I don't want to use it straight away, I do keep my old paper from the back of these and just use it to keep it clean. So I will cut it and weed it and then put this onto the carrier sheet just to keep it clean. So you can use lots of things again and again. So I did the pattern, the inscription in 2 pieces. I cut it in 2 pieces. But then I go on to cut it into 3 to apply it. Just wanted to change the placement slightly. So I made it on my design space in Cricut. Here I am using another piece. As you can see, I just rip off the end and put it to the side. You can do this if you have smaller pieces and you need a bigger piece. You can piece your transfer paper together and it's fine. Again, just giving it a good rub down, burnishing it. And now onto the slate. So the slate's all been cleaned and washed. It starts off in quite a dirty state because it's an industrial slate. And I drilled a hole in the top. You'll see on the other example that I showed on the outside of the building, we put a hole in so we could put a screw through into the wall. And then we used an adhesive also because these are quite heavy. This one's just going to stand in the garden. I do have another piece of slate, a similar size, and I'm going to put an inscription on that, and that is going in our marketplace at www.elfcraftandvinyl. So don't forget to check that out for one-off bespoke items and also personalised gifts for running up to Christmas. I am doing smaller slate pieces that you could use, which are for inside. For your Christmas table, so they will be going up on the marketplace this week. If any bits are lifting as I go, I just, as you can see, rock them and put them down and then just use my picking tool just to hold it in place. This is really good at vinyl. Rolling it away. Sometimes if you come in from a different direction, it just helps. This isn't difficult vinyl to work with at all. Just measuring it all up. In hindsight, I wish I'd have gone a bit higher on it, but hindsight is 20/20 vision. It was for me, so I kind of went with how I felt. Found the middle and placed the vinyl, and then weeded the second part of the sign. Stay to the end and you'll see a wooden sign that I made for the exterior of my house, the little porch that we have. Our next tutorial will be a double-sided wooden sign. One side being a welcome sign, a welcome sign, and the other side being a nativity sign, and that will be going in our marketplace when completed. So right there I am just lining it up, and then I start to place. It's fine, I can move it and realign it until I press it down. This isn't like glass. If I was laying this on glass, I'd have to be very careful because glass just sucks onto the adhesive and then it sticks. But the vinyl, you've got some give, you've got some time to move it around. On glass, I would use quite often use the wet method, which is giving it a spray. You can get a special solution, or you can mix a little drop of washing up liquid in with some water, and I mean a drop, and spray that on, and that will give you, but it does have a longer drying time. So here I am burnishing it down. I'm happy with the top, but then I changed my mind, and the last few lines I decide I want to move. So there I am, just fiddling about with it, measuring it up, and you can see I can still pick it up and move it. Yeah, and it is a constant. I start off with a plan, this is what I want to do, and then I will quite often change my mind halfway through. So I start off with the Stanley knife, but I don't want to mark the slate, so I end up using my scissors just to cut, and then I'm happy to burnish that down. And then when I've peeled it off and it comes off easily, I just wrap the ends around the slate, because when I put the etching fluid on, I don't want any to run onto the slate where I don't want it etched, because once it's etched, it's etched. There's nothing you can do about it. So as you can see, I'm just pulling it off. If bits lift, I just go back and put them down. I use my fingers to go around the edge, and you'll see I do that in a minute all the way around all of the letters. And I do that several times because I don't want anything to seep under. And there we go. And I shall keep that for another project, wrap it round. And there I start rubbing it around, going around all the letters, making sure there's no bubbles, no gaps. And then on to the second piece, which I'm just lining up now. I absolutely love working with vinyl. It's one of the most satisfying crafts I've ever done, and I do a lot of crafts, but I just absolutely adore it. I'm passionate about sharing the knowledge. So if anybody is interested in purchasing a cutting machine, on our Instagram page I have put a link to an article on choosing a cutting machine. I have at home the Cricut Explorer Air 2, and that's my preference, but you should just have a look into the various machines that are out there to find which one suits you best. And there I am again, just going around making sure everything's down. You can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook and find out more details about the competitions and upcoming projects, etc. Or visit us at our website www.elfcraftandvinyl.com. As you can see, I'm just using the leftover vinyl just to mask any exposed areas on the slate, and just going over again, making sure that everything's nicely rubbed down. And then I'm using some of the old carrier sheet just to mask off the top. Once I've used it for this, I will have to throw it away because it will have a chemical on it. So I'm just going over it now with my fingers to make sure absolutely everything is down where I want it. And that all looks very nice now. I'm getting the etch having a good shake, and then fighting with the top. It's one of those press down ones. Eventually I get it off, and then I stir it with my stick. Now I do see people going over and giving it a thin layer, then a thick layer, and doing lots of things, and that works for them. And you'll have to find the way that works for you best. The way that works for me is just to put it on. Just put on a very thick layer all over, making sure there's no air bubbles. But that is it. I don't do anything else to it. And then I leave it. Once it's all covered, I set my timer for 15 minutes, and that is it. I don't do anything else. And it works for me. But as I say, you'll have to find out what works for you. And there are other etching creams out there. I prefer Etchol, but you could use Armour Etch or whatever is in your area. So I jump through to the end because it's just more of me lathering this on. And I'm down to the image of the little children, 2 girls and a boy, which is currently the mix of grandchildren we have. And I didn't think anything could top being a parent until I became a grandparent. It is absolutely amazing. Thoroughly enjoy all aspects of it. I'm very lucky we are allowed to have a very hands-on relationship with all 3 of our grandchildren, and it brings us immense joy. So now I left it for 15 minutes and I'm just coming back now, just giving it a little dab and scraping it off with my sponge brush and popping it back in the jar to use again. This is absolutely fine and it will last forever. Well, not forever, but a very long time. So here I am scooping it all up again, halfway through. And as I've said in other etching videos, it's always a bit of a nervousness because it doesn't look like it's changed. It doesn't look any different at this point. So just rubbing it all over. The reason I use permanent vinyl and not temporary or contact paper is at this point, when I have tried using contact paper, the middles of the letters move, and then you've always got the risk of the etching fluid getting under. I took it to the tap and I rinsed it, all the chemical off, and then I brought it back and I'm just cleaning up my area with some wipes. And as I say, I've run this under lots of water, and now I'm just removing the vinyl and I am taking out the centres with my weeding hook, and it comes away quite easily now because it's very wet. It starts to dry out on the table. And once I've weeded it all out, I'll give it another wash. And I just use a mild detergent and warm water and wash it. Now you could seal it or put wax on it, but I don't. I just leave it natural because that's the way I like it. I think it looks nice like that. And as you can see, I've inserted the piece that I'm going to be working on this week and putting on the marketplace, so do watch out for that. So it's all clean now, and I'll show you it in the garden along with the magic garden quote on the side of the house, another option that I could do for the piece going in the marketplace. So there it is, and then the wooden welcome sign I have on my porch, and I'll be doing another wooden sign this week. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share and follow.